All right, Shalawam, I came out there. First and foremost, before I start, I want to give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Yahweh, that's the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahushai, that's the name of his beloved Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. Double honor to the apostles, a great millstone, and peace and mercy to the elect by Hashem Harakah Kodash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Let me minimize that. Damn, brothers get to see my notes and shit. But check it out. Through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the spirit been heavy on. Did I say damn? Brakte Yahweh, Brakte Yahushai. Double honor to the apostles, a great millstone, and peace and mercy to the elect by Hashem Harakah Kodash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Slack here, brothers, man. I got kind of frustrated right now, man. Prince of the power of the air. But nonetheless, let's get into this lesson right here. The spirit been heavy on Revelation, the 13th chapter. So the spirit jumped on me to basically, I want to go into an in-depth focus on this chapter, certain verses of this chapter. All right, show you, lining it up with the history of how the beast, the dragon, the beast was established, what years they was established, where they at on the map. How is the dragon, the beast, how is NATO and EU related to the Roman Empire? All those little things that's hard to understand in the scripture, seeing that we're trying to break down things that was written over 2,000 years ago that relates to this urban time, this modern day time. That's not easy. That really is only given to the prophets. Remember, when you jump to Amos 3:7, it says the Most High would do surely the Heavenly Father would do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. And even the prophets, you have to be taught these things, and you have to learn how to research these things out. First, getting into what the teachers broke down to what these things are. Now, this lesson going also, in this lesson, I'm going to be showing brother how to research. Like little things to think about when you're researching, because growing up in Esau's school system, the teachers didn't really teach you how to research. I didn't learn how to research until Daniel's, the 11th chapter test that the apostles gave years ago. That's when I finally learned how to research, how to use Google, what questions to ask in order to get answers, dates, maps, all that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be going through all that, showing brothers and off of how I lay this lesson out. Whenever you're going through anything in the scriptures, any type of breakdowns, when you're going through the internet and you're going through you're trying to figure out the information, you'll have the right questions to ask yourself and to type into Google to get your answers more accurately. Looking up words and everything of the sort. So in this lesson, I'm finna do so with just going to Revelations, the 13th chapter, and I'm only gonna focus on like verse 1 through 3. But this just verse 1 through 3 is gonna be a full drawn out lesson. All right. So look, let's start this up here. Now, Revelations 1 and 13 and 1. It says, and I stood upon the sea, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and the feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Now this is part 1. That's why I'm only focused on a couple verses here. All right. Now in these couple verses, a lot of things were said. A lot of history went down. All right. In these verses, let's go back up to verse 1 so we can break this down. It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise out of the sea. Now, John the Revelator was given these revelations on the Isle of Patmos, where he was When you look up John and you look up this information on him, he was exiled to the island of Patmos where he received these visions, and what he was seeing was the sea. Now in the scriptures, the sea represents what? You have to go to when you jump to Revelation 17 and 15, it tells you exactly what the sea is. It says, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, there the whore sitteth, are peoples, multitude, nations, and tongues. That's important to understand. That's important to know, to understand Revelation, the first part of the verse 1. The sea represents the people. All right? And John said that he saw a beast come out of the sea. The beast came out of the people. All right? The beast represents a power structure. The Edomite power structures. Edomite are people. This beast was going to rise out of the people. All right? Which is NATO and the EU. All right? And I just say NATO and the EU. It came out of the people. Now, before NATO and the EU was established, there was another beast that came before it, which was the Roman Empire. All right, it's all the same power structure there, all the same. Rome came first, and as they explained in verse 3, it was wounded. Romans went down, all right, and then it came back during the Renaissance era. This is giving it to you in a nutshell, but I'm going to go into it further later. It came back in the Renaissance era, and it was established as NATO and the EU later on, okay, when the Edomites came back. Now, this beast came out of the people, okay, and then it said having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, you have to use this picture right here. This is the picture that you got to run to. All right, you can type in Great Millstone Beast in the Google Images, and this picture pops up here, where it gives you the breakdown of what the 7 heads and the 10 horns represent. Now it says the 7 heads equals the 7 governments or kingdoms ruled by Esau, meaning basically the foundated power of Esau, right? The 7 heads, and then it shows you in this picture that the 7 heads are Germania Major, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germania Minor, the Britain, and Greeks. Now, when you right here and you're looking at the names of these things, it's not enough to just be like, okay, well, this picture said that's what it is, and now that you copycat parrot what this picture say. One thing, if you studying and understanding the scriptures, one thing when you look at Germania, German, we know that's amongst Esau, the Germans are the most wisest. That's where you get the scientists that's been making these different, that was really the brains behind the nuclear missile was the German scientists. You see, and they're all Edomites. You see why Germania is in there. You got to start calculating this stuff up. So when you're looking at then the Romans, we know that the Romans were a part of Daniel's, the 7th chapter, with the beast that Daniel saw. We know that the Romans were established during the time of Yahushua. You see how these are the 7 governments of the kingdom ruled by Esau, like the main foundated power structures that Esau been standing upon. You see? The French was a big part of taking down during the time of the Revolutionary Wars, like the tribe of Levi. They speak, I believe they speak broken French, like their tongue. The Spanish as well, the conquistador, the Spanish, Israel being conquered, and now they speak, the northern kingdom speak Spanish, but it came from the Spaniards, the Spanish. You see that? And then it's Britain, America came out of Britain, where the 13 colonies was established, and then the Revolutionary War. In the Revolutionary War, America was was given its independence out of Britain. And then the Greeks. We know that was the first start of Esau's basically rulership in the earth, which started with Alexander the Great. The Greeks, you know? So when you look at this picture right here and you see these heads, you have to think to yourself, why is these names there and how they played, what roles have they been playing in history? And then you will see, okay, well, I see how that is that's a bunch of Edomite, like their foundation of their powers, these 7 kingdoms here. You know? All right? Now, a tool on researching, then you look up these different, you look up Germanic Major, Wikipedia, Romans Wikipedia, the French Wikipedia, Spanish Wikipedia. You do that, and then you're able to connect other little pieces in there. That's a part of learning how to research properly. All right? Instead of being a copycat parrot out there. You know, you will understand it for yourself what the Lord meant by these things in the scriptures. Now, it says 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, when we go back to this picture, they hit 10 horns being the EU, which is the European Union, which, damn, this picture pretty fuzzy right here. But at first it was called the EEC, which was the European Economic Community. Later on in time, they changed their name to the EU. Okay? And then when you look up this search, when you look up the EEC and the EU, you see that these was the nations that established these things. You have Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Spain and Portugal, England and Ireland, and West Germany. Okay? Now, what you do next? You look at a map and you see where these different countries are. So you can get an idea in your head when you're breaking these things down. It's all over here in Europe. All right? You see the let me see if I got a better picture here. Okay, no, that's the older one I had. Okay, this is the only one I had here, but you got Denmark right here. Let me see. You got Germany right here. You got Belgium in there right here. Ready? Follow the mouse if you wanna. If you look in visual. You got Luxembourg right here. You know what I'm saying? You got the Netherlands, which is right here, all up in Europe. But remember, Rome is right here. Italy, Rome. This is the Roman Empire. This was all the power of the Roman Empire, which, let me go to this picture right here for you. This picture right here that I'm showing you right here was basically everything that's highlighted was the whole Roman Empire, right? Now, when you look over here where Rome, Spain, and those different 10 countries were, where the beast was, Europe, you look at this picture right here. This give you an idea. This is what the beast. This is where the beast and everything was being established at, the kingdoms and everything. So now you have a picture in your mind of the map. You know. All right. So jumping back to Revelations, that's the 7 heads and then the 10 horns. Now, horns in the scripture represents powers. So out of these main 7 kingdoms, Germanic Made, Romans, French, Spain, Germanic Minor, British, the horns is on the top of the head. All right, the different little powers that they do have, and that's the EU. All right, NATO as well. North Atlantic Treaty Organization as well. It's just that the EU represents the European Union. So that means that only the European countries could be a part of that. America is not part of the EU because America is not in Europe. Canada is not a part of the EU because Canada is not in Europe, you see? But they all are the same. They all of that same beast. And they all planted within each other. And that's the modern day power structure that we're living under, that was prophesied here. Okay? So, jumping back to Revelation 13:1, it says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Now, going back to this picture, the names of blasphemy, the apostles put it right here, these different, you could say these different little agendas that Esau been pushing on all the world, which was democracy, his punk ass form of religions, his ideology. I mean his how would you say that? His idolism, okay? Homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetous, and murders. That's exactly what Esau been pushing in the whole planet Earth. The whole planet Earth. Democracy, false religion, all these different idols, homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetousness, and murder. That sums up all that blasphemy that Esau been doing through these different power structures or these different empires under this beast. You know, signing all this bullshit philosophy, all this into law, and making the people worship this beast, worship these different ways. Now, why did this beast be established? That's a question to ask yourself. Why did this beast be established? Right? Well, then you got to go into prophecies. You know? Now, the first prophecy I have here is Genesis 27:34. All right? Now, Genesis 27:34 goes all the way back to Jacob and Esau, where he was promised Esau, which Esau rules these kingdoms. This is, like I said, the 7 heads equal the 7 governments and kingdoms ruled by Esau. Esau, you got to go all the way back to what was told Esau. When you jump to Genesis 27:34, Isaac blessed Esau. It says, and when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, my father. Jumping down to verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling should be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. So this prophecy of Genesis 27 is being established now too. This fits Esau now as well. You see this? The Most High is not a man that he should lie. This is being established on the planet Earth right now. Genesis 27:39 and 40. All right? It said he should have the fatness of the earth. He going to have the best, just to sum it up in a nutshell, he going to have the best places on the earth. He going to have basically the earth in his possession. It goes a little deeper in the fatness, but I'm just giving in a nutshell. All right? It says, in the earth, in the dew of heaven and above, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break the yoke from off of his neck. So Esau was prophesied. It was prophesied to Esau that he would get the earth. Now another precept that you could throw in there is the simple precept that brothers bring out every week. Job 9:24. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? So now you understand why this devil, this beast, was able to raise out of the people. The sea representing the people. Why he was able to do it? Because it was according to prophecy. That's why he was able to rise up. Job 9:24 said the earth was going to be given into the hand of the wicked, which we see this day. We seeing this beast rule today. He ruled back during the time of the Roman Empire, and he's ruling today. Okay? All right? So, the prophecy of Revelation 13:1 was fulfilled with, the prophecy of Job 9:21, Job 9:24, a part of it was Esau getting this beast system rose up so that he could rule the earth. And he's ruling the earth by this beast, which is through NATO EU. All right. Now, verse 2 now. Okay. So I explained that you got to look at maps. You have to look up, you got to look at maps. You just got to look up into information. You can't just look at this picture and then remember it. Nah, man, see what these things are about, man. The Romans, all this. Look into these different little things, and then you'll notice that you start being able to piece up all other little things. All right, so verse 2. Let me see. Okay, now verse 2, it says, "And the beast which I saw was likened unto a leopard." All right, now the leopard represents what? The Greeks, starting with Alexander the Great. I just seen a picture. Man, where did I see that picture at, man? One of the brothers put it up on the let me see. One of the brothers put it up on the chat where Philip of Macedon used to ride around with a leopard on his his horse. Same thing with Alexander the Great. Let me Google that real quick. Let me see. Alexander the Great, and then type in leopard. Let me go to images. Now, you see that right there? You see that? You see how you're able to tie that up? You're able to tie that up with prophecy. On Alexander, this is a little action figure of him. But when he had that leopard on his horse, and the same thing, I seen a picture earlier today. Philip of Macedon having the same thing on his horse. Which I believe Alexander's father's name was Philip. That's an easy Google search, just to verify it. Matter of fact, let me see that real quick. Let me look up that. Let me see. Alexander the Great's father. Yep, Philip II of Macedon was Alexander the Great's father. That's something important to know. Who's this nigga daddy? You know what I mean? That's the seed line. All right. This is getting a full understanding of what you reading. So if you got a question, Google it. All right. But check it out. Going back to Alexander the Great, he used to wear this leopard on his stuff. Okay. Now, so it goes to show you that that leopard represented the Greeks, because that was the first of Esau's rule. That was the first of his rule. That's when Alexander the Greek came into power, and when the Greeks came into power by Alexander the Great, which that's who the Heavenly Father used. Now, I gotta get it. Let me go to Daniel's, the 8th chapter, because this history is written in the book of Daniel's. You got to jump to Daniel's 7 and 8. When you jump to Daniel's, the 8th chapter, let me see. And you start, I'm going to just start at verse, let me see. I'm going to start at verse 8. This is talking about Alexander the Great here. It says, "Therefore, the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken." Damn, I would have to read up a little bit. I have to because I'm giving bits and pieces because I understand it fully. But let me jump up to verse 3. Explain it a little bit, slightly a little further. Daniel's 8 and 3, it says, Then I lifted up my eyes, and I saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. Now this is talking about the Persians and the Mede Empire, because before the Greeks came into play. Let me grab this right here. Let me see Daniel's 2 statue. Before the Greeks came into rulership, damn, let me see if I could get a better picture. Oh, here we go, right here. Let me see if I could view image. Before the Greeks came into rulership, right? What kingdom was ruling before them? Was the Medo-Persians, or the Persians and the Mede Empire ruled before the Greeks. So jumping back to Daniel's 8th chapter, that ram represent the Persians and the Greek Empire. Now it said it had 2 horns. Horns represent powers in the scriptures. Horn represents powers in the scriptures. Now, the 2 horns represents the Medes and then the Persians. But it said, but one was higher than the other, because the stronger part of the kingdom was under the Persians. The Medes and then the Persians basically took over, and they were stronger than the Medes. All right, but that was one solid empire. That's why it says the higher came up last. The Medes ruled first, and then the Persians basically took over the empire there. All right. Now that's why when you reading in the book of Daniel, you had Darius the Medes, and then it switches over to Cyrus the Persian, and because it was a switch, and it was basically a switch within the same empire. Okay. Now that empire ruled, but then you had Alexander, which came from the line of Philip II of Macedon. Alexander the Great came, and then you could jump to First Maccabees for that. Read First Maccabees, the 1st chapter, where it speaks about Alexander the Great. All right, how he came and he moved within. I think he reigned 12 years. Let me grab that, man. It's such a mass. It's such a mass history. It's massive. Let me read this as let me go to I like Bible Gate. Let me see First Maccabees, King James Version. Let me see right here. Let me see view where we go. Let me view chapter. All right, switch to Standard King James. All right, so this is First Maccabees 1:1. It says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes. You see how it lines all up together? It says, and he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, Alexander the Great. It says, and made many wars and won strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. All right. And then it says, let me see. And then it says, jumping down to verse 7. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then he died. Within 12 years, Alexander got rulership over the empire, destroyed everything, and transferred over the power to Greece through the Spirit of the Lord. Within 12 years, that's a part of the reason why Alexander was known as the leopard, because a part of the symbolism of what a leopard represents is swiftness. That's a part of it. All right, he moves swift, quick. It takes years before you could take down another empire, and it be taking years before there be battles inside and out. But this dude moves swift through the Spirit of the Lord. And I believe he didn't, when you read it, you got to look up the research of Alexander the Great. Wikipedia, this guy, I believe he didn't lose no battles. What took him, when you jump to First Maccabees, what took him was verse 5. First Maccabees verse 5 says, and after these things he fell sick and was perceived that he should die. He died of a sickness, man. You know? And when you look up the history on it, people say that it may be due to a sexual transmitted disease because the dude, Alexander the Great, was known for being a homosexual. Showing you that Edomites, that Edomite power structure in how a part of the blasphemy of the beast was homosexuality. The rulers, the Esau being the rulers, he's known for being a homo. See how it ties with all within each other, man. All right. So jumping back to Daniel chapter 8, it says, jumping down to, after I just showed you that ram, that ram with the two horns was the Persians and the Medes. Jumping down to verse 8 now, says, therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. That horn that was on that ram was broken. Alexander the Great, being that he-goat, took down the Persians and the Medes. All right. It says, and for it came up four notable horns towards the four winds of the heavens, which Alexander, after his death, when you read further down in First Maccabees, his generals took over. His four generals. Okay? And that was the four in Daniel's 8. That was the four notable ones that came out of the he-goat. All right? So, jumping all the way back to Revelations 13, verse 2. It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. All right, starting with the Greeks with Alexander the Great. All right, I just showed you just little things that how I tied it together. It's more information you could tie together within all this vast amount of history. All right, you just got to study it yourself. You know, it says, and his feet were as a feet of a bear. Now, let me see if there was any more points I wanted to. Okay, no, that was all my points I had on that one. Okay, because I don't want to miss nothing. Now, it said his feet as the feet of a bear. Now, the bear represents Russia. Why would it represent Russia? Because Russia's gonna be Russia's gonna be used, take down. That's gonna be the end of Esau's kingdom, basically. All right, when Russia blows fucking America to smithereens, with being the main one amongst the other nations. Now the feet, your feet is at the what part of your body? Your feet is at the end of your body. That's the latter part of your body is your feet. That's the bottom of your body. All right. That's why at the end of the beast, Russia will destroy it. Okay? At the end of the beast, Russia will destroy it. Now, Russia is known for what? Russia is known as the bear. The Russian bear. All right? That's what it's known for. They always got the bear. You see? Hey, one thing that bear represents is solitude. A bear represents solitude. That's why bears, they have a solitary type life. You know, you see bears in the wilderness, they'll be by themselves. It's not like a pack of bears. And you notice that Russia basically kind of sits itself, you know? Russia is not a part of NATO and the EU. Russia's not a part of that. If you hear somebody talking about Russia part of NATO and EU, he's off. You know? Russia kind of sits as his own self. It's kind of similar to a bear. You see the symbolism of why John was seeing these different animals. You know? Because they were not literal animals. animals have attributes and ways about them that is similar to how men rule empires, how men do certain things. See? All right? So that's what the feet of the bear represent. It says, and its mouth as the mouth of a lion, which represents Great Britain. You know? That represents Great Britain. Now, out of Great Britain came who? Out of Great Britain came who? America. You know? Which America is basically the spear of the beast. Like that's the woman. Let me go back to the image. Let me see, where the hell did I put that? That's the image. The woman that sits on top of the beast. America's basically the spearhead, the main source of how Esau's making shit happen on the earth. He uses America for everything. If they want to push homosexuality, guess who they use? They use America. And all these other countries follow suit after it. That's why she's just a harlot. She's like that's why she's where America is, where the final judgment is going to really be the main source. You know? And the elites, they use America, man. The elite of Esau, they use America like a mug, man. All right? And America, the American army is what they used to really rule over a lot of these different nations. The military part which mainly was America. How they say in World War I, World War II, how America stepped in and basically won the war. You see that there? And that's why it was like a mouth of a lion there. You know? The mouth of a lion is where strength at. The mouth of a lion is where it devours at. The strength is at. Okay? Now, let's look up this right here. Like I said, America came out of Great Britain. Now, you had a thing called the American Revolutionary War to the right of the screen here. Let me make it a little bigger here. Now, just reading this little insert, American Revolutionary War. All right, it says the American Revolutionary War, also known as the American War of Independence. When America gained its independence, it broke off from Great Britain. Okay? It says, was the 18th century war between Great Britain and its 13 colonies. Let me Google that real quick. It's like here. Let me Google the 13 colonies real quick. You see how that's why sometimes just reading a couple verses take hours if you really want to understand them verses, because it's so much within two verses is hundreds of years of history. Now the 13 colonies was established over there on the east coast of America. These were the damn Edomites that came over here and established themselves by taking down the northern kingdom, the indigenous people of this land, all right, and taking over this whole region of land. All this over here, bringing the Negroes over here, making them be in the cotton fields and everything. This is where it was all established, in these 13 colonies. Now, these 13 colonies were established in the Revolutionary War when they broke off from Great Britain. It says, was the 18th century war between Great Britain and its 13 colonies, which declared independence in 1776. You see that right there? How now 1776 is playing into play. That's when America was established. You know? All right? It says the 13 colonies would declare independence in 1776 as the United States of America. So America was established in 1776, man. You know? When it broke off from Great Britain, which that is that mouth of that lion, which was Great Britain. You know? Now, another verse you could jump to here for a precept is jumping to the book of, where's it at? Jeremiah 50 and 11. It says, in Jeremiah 50 and 11 says, because talking about this chapter is right here. It's talking about how America is going to be destroyed. And 51st chapter going to it as well. It says, because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O you destroyers of my heritage. Where were the Israelites? Where were the Israelites' heritage broken from them at? Was it broken during the Roman Empire? From my understanding, the wicked scribes and Pharisees knew that they was Israelites. And that was established during the Roman Empire. From my understanding, Paul in the book of Acts described that he was Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. You know? And Israel knew that there was Israelites back then. Our heritage wasn't broken back then. Our heritage was destroyed over here in America. All right? It says, destroyers of my heritage, because you were grown fat as the heifers of the grass and bellows of the bulls. And over here, America got big. America got big over here. America basically became rich as hell off of the destruction of the Most High's heritage, the Israelites. And that's why the similitude of the fat of the heifer and the grass, it's similar to a cow that just grubbing on the grass. He going out there, he just getting fat. That's how America got fat off of us. It says, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bear you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be as a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because remember, the prophecies state that all these nations, let me go to Obadiah real quick. All these nations that was confederate with America is going to turn against her and destroy her. The mother is Great Britain. Your mother, O America, which America came out of Great Britain and was established in 1776 after the Revolutionary War. Okay? Now your mother gonna be sore confounded on you. They're gonna turn their back on America, and they're gonna turn it into a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. All right? Jump into the book of, I believe it's Obadiah. Let me type in Confederate. Let me see if that right there, Confederate. Let me see. Let me just type in Obadiah. Let me see. Look right here, Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. America, remember, jumping back to the picture, America is a part of NATO. All these different nations are part of NATO and the EU. They're going to turn on America. The Confederates. Now, when you look up, let's look up this word Confederate right here in Obadiah. When you look up the word Confederacy, it goes back to Strong's H1285, and it goes back to Ba-Rayath, and it says alliance, covenant, pledge. The men that was these different nations that were in league with America is going to turn their back according to prophecy. See? The alliances, the leagues, they're going to turn their back. And they're going to burn America. You see how the Most High, the scriptures tell you in, it was recited in 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, but it was took out of the book of Job. It says, the Lord should take the crafty in their own craftiness. You know? The Most High is going to use Esau against Esau. Esau is wicked. The Most High going to use Esau to destroy Esau. The Most High is crucial, man. Okay? So, that was a little more information for you to understand Revelations the 13 and verse 2. All right, so it says, so we established that the leopard is the Greeks, starting with Alexander the Great. He was the first to rule over Greece, according to First Maccabees. The feet of the bear is going to be the end of the beast, which the bear represents the Russians, because they're going to be the main ones destroying America. And the feet is the latter part of your body. That's why it represents the end of America, the end of the beast. All right? And then the mouth is Britain. All right? Which I just went into that. Look, you can find more information on it. It says, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority, man. Now, what NATO and the EU? The EU. Let's look up the EU real quick. Or matter of fact, Apostle Tahar gave us a solid pointer of where to start. When you look up the Treaty of Rome, okay? The Treaty of Rome, let's read it right here. It says, this is the Treaty of Rome in Wikipedia. It says the treaty on the function of the European Union. All right? Also referred to as the Treaty of Rome, is one of two treaties forming the constitutional bias of the EU. So you get right there. Going back to Revelation 13, it says the dragon, the Roman Empire, gave him his power, gave the beast his power, and his seat and great authority. The beast, NATO and the EU, how they're running this empire is exactly how the Romans ran the empire. The Roman Empire is the same because it's the same people coming back into power all over again. It's not nobody new. It's these same bastards that was ruling during the Greeks, that was ruling during the Roman Empire. And then the Roman Empire went down. All right. And that's why verse 3 say, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, but his deadly wound was healed. The Roman Empire went down for a little bit. All right. And then that motherfucker revived basically as the beast, NATO and the EU, the establishment we see today. Okay? And it's exercising and doing everything that the Romans did. I got some video clips for you to just further solidify this for you. The ways of the Romans to the physicalness that we see in this new age dragon, NATO and EU, is all basically the same because it's the same people. Okay? Let me go down. Let me read verse. Where was it at? Let me jump down to verse 13 and 12. Revelation 13 and 12. It says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth in them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. The beast that's established now, NATO and the EU, right? They're doing everything of the first beast, which was the Roman Empire. And they're causing everybody to worship the same way and do the same thing. Okay? So jumping back up, it says, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Now, to further solidify what I'm talking about here, I just showed you how the EU was established through a thing called, one of the two treaties was called the Treaty of Rome. That's how you know that's that first beast. That causeth, that first beast, which the beast now causeth everybody to worship. It's the same dudes, man. Which is Esau power structure. His power structure this devil have established through the prophecies of the Most High, saying he gonna get the fatness of the earth. He gonna rule the earth. You know, this is the Most High's prophecies here. Okay, so check this out right here. Let me see right here. Right here. This brother, a brother in the camp, GMS Armor Truth 12. Subscribe to the brother. The brother name is Tawab. That brother been around for a minute, man. Brother been around since 2011, holding strong still in the spirit. But the brother did a beautiful lesson right here, and I'm going let me pause this music real quick. I'm gonna play this lesson right. I'm gonna just show you some similitudes of how the Roman Empire is similar to this goddamn beast that we see today. The brother video was called America/Roman Empire Reincarnation. All right, let's play some of this video right here. Now, check it out. The ancient structures of Rome, that's exactly how the White House and these different structures of America is built. Same way. The Colosseums, these different Olympics and stadiums, same way. Same thing. See here? Same sports. Wrestling. Army. That's FEMA troops. How they hold. If you ever see where these troops, they line up just like the Romans. How the FEMA troops be having their little glass shields just like the Romans. The money. The similitude of the money, having a damn president's head or a Caesar's head. Same similitude of the money. Check it out. The Senate. Hold up. The Senate back there, and the United Nations councils and everything. Same thing here. Same thing with the look the Olympics back then. The symbols are the same. I'm going through a Statue of Liberty. The goddess Diana, I believe that should be. You see the similitudes though? This is that same beast, man. All right, this is a beautiful video the brother did. The spore, I forgot what that stands for, but you can easily Google it. I'm not gonna Google it. But that's like the seal of America. Same thing, man. Same thing here. Going back. It says the dragon gave him his power. They doing the same thing in his seat. You look up seat right there. Let's look up seat real quick. You look up seat, goes back to the Strong's G, 2362, and it says Thronos. Thronos. What did that sound like? A throne. What does a throne represent? Power. Rulership. Now, when you look it up, it says assigned in the New Testament to kings, hence kingly power or royalty. Let's look back at the picture. It says the 7 heads equals 7 governments and kingdoms ruled by Esau, his authority. So this guy, this beast, NATO and the EU was going to come back doing exactly what the Roman Empire was doing. Same thing. Same thing. And we witnessing this literally as we speak, man. We're witnessing these prophecies coming to pass. Okay? Where was I? Okay, here we go. So he gave him his seat. How long I've been on here already? Okay, I'm gonna get ready to close. I think I'm gonna go to verse 2, but that's why I put part 1 because I'm gonna go into some more verses here. It says the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. All right. It says, I'm gonna go to verse 3. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and the deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. When the Roman Empire went down, when you search that history, Septimius Severus, the different Jakes start to get into the Roman Empire. They start to become the Caesars. With Septimius Severus being one of them, means the cutter of 7. Septimius, cutter, Severus is 7. Cutter of 7. Esau's 7 main power, his foundative power structure, basically, like a sort of way to speak. Jake cut it down. All right. Jake started getting it. Jake got into the Roman Empire. It turned into the holy, I believe it's called the Holy Pagan Roman Empire. It got like a title for it. Jake took over. That beast went down. It was basically wounded. But it came back in the Renaissance era, meaning the rebirth. All right. And that's written in Revelation, the 20th chapter. How he came back. I'll go into that a little further in the next lesson. I'm going to try to just go through some of this lesson so brothers could get a foundation of what's being said in here. And it said, I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and the deadly wound was healed. That's when Esau came back in the Renaissance era. And the Most High took Jake down during the Dark Ages. He took him down at the end of the Dark Ages with the pneumonic and bubonic plague. Esau came back into rulership after that. NATO and the EU was established. He covered all the faces that, going back to Job 9:24, when he got into power, he said, Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked, and he covered the faces of the judges thereof. He started covering all the fucking monuments. He started to take everything over, rewrite history, and he got his power all back in it because of prophecy. If not, where and who is he? You see that here? Yeah, the Holy Roman Empire under Jake. That's right, GMS Shira. So, Lord willing, next lesson, I'm going to go a little further, just explaining it to the best of my ability. But you can always research and find even more key points. There's key points that I may not have even touched in here. But it's key points you got to research out. So, that's basically been a whole lesson right there. I'm going to jump back in it. This has just been part 1 of part 1 complete review, Revelation 13 chapter prophecy. I only went through basically 3 verses, and it took slack here, brothers. And it took basically an hour. You see that? Because it's vast history. It's a lot in 3 verses. And it's coming to understand it versus being a parrot. Understanding what's being said here. And you could go even further deeper. So with that, man, I hope you brothers was edified, man. I tried to my best ability to give it to you in the simplest form while showing you how to research these things out. Maps, Wikipedia, and ultimately the precepts of Daniel. The attributes of animals. And what you see today, how America and NATO and the EU doing a lot of things of the Roman Empire. So yeah, man, with that, I hope that was edifying. I hope, because this is heavy. I hope everything that I said was accurate. And if it's something that I misspoke, I would gladly go back and search it out and get and find out the correct answer on it. But with that, I'm gonna close out and say, Barak Yahweh, Barak was shy. Hope you brothers is edified. Learn this thing, understand it, so that your foundation within the truth could be more solid. So with that, I'm going to close it out. Say, Barak Yahweh, Barak Shai, Shalom, Akim, Step, Shalom.